Today you're catching me in my studio preparing my material for projects. What I'm doing is I'm literally destashing, which means I'm going through all of the material that I have and sorting, organizing, throwing away, giving away as much as I possibly can. So, because I'm really using this time to use what I have and not give me more stuff. So, I'm having a lot of fun because I'm really discovering some things that, first of all, I forgot I had, and second of all, just like right now, I'm just cutting and organizing my fabric for my fabric projects, especially because I'm going to start working with some little girls and teaching them how to sew, and I'm getting back in my own sewing. I'm feeling that my fabric is more valuable because instead of just sticking it in a box and not knowing where it is or what it is, I'm actually taking pieces and putting pieces, the small pieces, in one place, and taking other pieces that are bigger and putting them in another place. And also have a bin here that is scrap, which is going to go to a little girl that sews. And I know when I started sewing, I was just thrilled when someone gave me a bag of scrap fabric, and I could just, play with fabric and didn't have to really go and get fabric. Now, as far as fabric, I don't go to fabric stores and get my fabric anyway. I go to thrift stores, and of course people give me stuff. As you can see, when you were listening to the video, that fabric is actually a big curtain. So people give me a lot of stuff, and that's where I got a lot of the stuff that I have, is people have given me the like recycled materials or whatever they're getting rid of from their house. So that's why I have as much stuff as I do have, which I really appreciate. But now I'm in a different place in my life. I'm really trying to pare down and simplify so that I know what I'm going to use, like a lot of people. So anyway, this is what I'm doing, and this is my studio. And you can see also that I'm going through my collage material. This is an example of some of the collage material I have that is just pieces of paper left over from projects, sometimes even the kids' projects that I have left over, painted paper that I did myself. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to cut pieces, like divide the pieces, and then give these pieces, one part of it's going to go to one of my collage artists, and I'm going to keep the other. So that way I'll have just a little bit of a lot of things rather than a lot of things of a lot of things. And that's what I'm doing with my stuff there. And the other thing is that I collected a lot of, this is what I use when I do my gen transfers. This is stuff that I use when I do all the different kinds of transfers that I do. And this is just Xerox copies of stuff that I kept. And this is great when you go to do transfers. So this stuff is just great. I mean, once you have it, you don't want to throw it away. What you may have to do, though, in order to use it, because see, when the ink is old, it's harder to transfer. So you may have to run it back through and copy it again. But still, you have the original piece. And I really, once I get something like this, I usually scan it in my computer, because I've done all this work, and why should I have to do it all over again? So I scan this and I put it in a folder, and so I have it all the time, and then I have to worry about doing it again. And this is fabric that I'm doing, I'm cutting out for applique. So I have somebody gave me this wedding dress, and I'm going to cut these into applique pieces. Because when my kids, as well as when I do it as well, it's good to have pieces of things that they can use for applique that's already cut out. So I prepare that. So I'm going through, let's see, I'll start with this. I'll go through this bag here. I have tons of fabric that I've had for a long time. So I've given a lot of fabric away already to a lady who actually, does fabric, does sewing. So the first thing I'm going to cut up is these pieces of fabric that are actually upholstery fabric. These make great canvases when they're painted. You can actually paint them. You can put gesso over them and use them for a surface to paint right on them. So I'm going to cut them off of the holder because it'll be a lot easier to work with when I go to do the project. So I think I'm not going to use my X-Acto knife though. This is a great tool, but you don't want to use it for fabric or paper, and there's paper behind here. And so I'm going to get my regular scissors. Also, you can see all these cat litter bins. I save these cat litter bins because they're great for storage. And so, if you have a cat, or if you have somebody that has a cat, know somebody that has a cat, you can actually find that they're very helpful in getting rid of their, so I'm probably going to use this. They're very helpful in helping you because they will really appreciate your taking the containers. So it's a great way to recycle, and it's also a great way to use, because I take these and put these in the basement on my shelves, and I can actually stack them. But of course, this is also stuff that I'm actually getting rid of now. So, but they're great for storage. Anyway, so let me do that later. Okay, here's a big piece of fabric. I'm just going to take and cut this into smaller pieces, and I don't even like it really, so I may not keep a lot of it. If I have fabric that I really am not excited about, sometimes you can alter fabric. You can do something with the fabric. This is actually polyester, and I'm not crazy about polyester. It's really hard to work on, so when the kids, do sewing, they even have problems working on this stuff. So I won't keep a lot of this. I'll probably just do something else with it. I'm not sure what. Like I said, you can alter it, which would be good if I could just take a piece and just kind of experiment with it to see if it can be altered. I don't like the feel of it, but I think if we paint over it or do something else over it, it might make a nice surface. So I'll save some of it, but I'm not going to save it all. Okay, this is an example of just basically getting rid of something that I have too much of, so I'm just going to keep a little bit of this. Okay. And who knows, maybe some of my girls, when they sew, when they start doing hand sewing, it's pretty easy to do hand sewing. This is another piece of fabric I'm not too crazy over. This almost looks Japanese to me for some reason. But it's not too interesting, but it's something that could be used in something. So I'll probably just keep a little bit of it. Actually, this organization process started with just feeling one day when I was in my basement, just feeling like I was just totally overwhelmed with stuff. And I'm sure that collage artists and mixed media artists, if we weren't mixed media and collage artists, we probably would be hoarders. And it was my conclusion, after looking at my basement, that's probably what I was doing, is simply just collecting stuff and not really using it. So that's what I'm doing now. So if you are a collage artist, mixed media artist, a fiber artist, you probably collect fabric, And like me,